So welcome all. Welcome to the day 2 of our program. Before we move further, any feedback, any questions, any afterthoughts after the last session?
In the last session, you shared the scores of the personality behaviors like passive aggression and passive nature and assertive. What is the ideal score for a person? What should be the ideal score? Is there a
We will be
baseline of that?
we will be discussing this at length today. So
Okay.
it's not just about the scores. Only thing is, what is your dominant style of communicating that matters. So if your dominant style is assertion, and rest other styles of communication are there, but they are not really, kind of omnipresent. So that's fine, because you can't exclude any one of them completely. But then if they are not part of your regular communication, that's what we are looking for. So assertion could be as high as 20, like for example, depending upon because there are total 5 questions on each, so 4 is the highest, so 20 is the highest score. Much more than that, look at it in your day-to-day communication. What is your regular way of communicating with people?
Okay.
So the whole idea is not about scores. The whole idea is about understanding. It's kind of, alerting yourself. Okay, I'm using this style. This is probably not a helpful style, so I need to change my way of. It's more like alarming the person, that's all. There is nothing called, okay, this is the ideal score and you should have this much. In most of the situation, it's found assertion is the best way to deal with the situation, so that you have a balanced relationship with people around you. But don't worry, we'll be discussing this at length with a lot of examples. And if time permits, we'll definitely do a small role play also around it, as I promised last time. So if I may request all others who are there to have their camera on, and I think we can begin the discussion. So you have your scores with you, the first scores, communication style scores with all of you. Do you all have it? So if you may again put that in the chat box. I know last time you had mentioned it in the chat box, but if you can once again put your scores in the chat box, that will help us to discuss some of the examples to learn from.
Is it regarding the first questionnaire or the second questionnaire?
The first one that was communication style. The second we will discuss, after we finish with this particular topic. So I can see somebody with the name Bihan. I would request to kindly give your login ID with your proper name so that I know who is the person. You can go, you can click.
Me, ma'am, Dr. Geeta.
Dr.
Ma'am,
Geeta.
I will change. Yes, ma'am, I will change, ma'am.
Yeah, can you change it? Thank you. It's okay, I understand completely. Sometimes we have it with our kids' name and family members' name. I understand. That's okay. So I can see the scores. And also, Dr. Geeta, it is not 42. You will have actually 4 set of scores.
Yes, ma'am, it's today's question score.
Okay, even today's score, we will discuss later. That we will discuss later.
Yes, ma'am. Sure, ma'am.
It's okay. Yeah. But we are discussing the other set of scores.
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah. So, okay. So if I may begin the discussion about this, but much before that, if I ask a very honest question to all of you, and I would really request that give it a thought and answer. On a scale of 1 to 10, how much do we really value the relationship at our workplace? Not just with one person, because I know all of us would have 1 or 2 people with whom we are very, very, we enjoy wonderful, friendship or maybe professional relationship. But in general, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much do we really genuinely value the relationship at workplace? So you may write your answers in the chat box. And when I say value, that's when you are ready to go to any length to sustain, maintain, nurture, look after each other. So I can see some of the answers coming as 7, 8, 7, 9, 9, 8. Excellent, excellent. I think these are very encouraging answers, I would say. Okay.
Ma'am,
So,
I could not answer as there was break in my connection. What was the question, ma'am?
okay. The question was asked to check how much genuinely do we really value the relationship at our workplace on a scale of 1 to 10. Yeah. So I can see most of you have mentioned 7, 8, 9. So that's a very encouraging number, I would say, on a scale of 10. How many of us enjoy wonderful rapport with our colleagues, be it juniors, be it seniors? Again, on a scale of 1 to 10, a very genuine kind of a submission I'm looking for. How many of us thoroughly enjoy our relationship with our colleagues, be it your seniors or juniors? Again, quite encouraging. Very nice. So, Dr. Geeta, I congratulate when you have honestly admitted 6. Dr. Archana is more specific. With juniors 10 and with seniors it is 8. Again, I respect your answer. I respect your answer. Dr. Ishani, I think your login ID is coming as MacBook. Can you go and change your identity, login ID to your proper name? Thankfully, I remember your name. So I can see only all women in today's session. Is it a Women's Day? Or a resolution that all men would attend one batch and all women will attend one batch? Because I know there's a change in the batch. I was told that there can be shuffling between people from one batch to another. So are we expecting some more participants or we move on with the discussion?
No, ma'am, we should move on as many of them are busy with their other commitments like teaching and all.
So that means they may be joining the next session, that is on Monday.
Yes, ma'am, probably.
Fine, that's perfectly all right. I'm fine with that. Okay, so very honestly, I think seeing your answers, I'm very happy, very glad, because I feel we normally think workplace is workplace. So if anything goes wrong at home, we become apprehensive and we try to work on it. We even go beyond a point to resolve the conflict at home with our family members, with our kids and parents and everybody. But at workplace, a lot of time, either things are absolutely fine, or in case there is a conflict, it goes into Cold War. And that's very heartening. That's very, very heartening, because that's a place from where you're not just getting your source of income, but that's a place from where we get our energy to live. So a healthy workplace, a healthy work environment is so very important for our mental, physical, social, emotional, psychological health, because that's the energy we carry from our workplace. The day you have good work environment, everybody is very nice, everybody is very, cordial, you go home with so much of energy, even if you had a lot of work to be done. On another day, if you have a conflict with any one of your senior or junior or with anybody for that matter, that day becomes such a heavy day. And even when you go home, you're not able to, peacefully sit at one place or smile or laugh or enjoy your life. So I really, always recommend that please value the relationship at workplace. It is like your home, and you will experience all those emotions that you experience at home, you will experience at workplace. Only thing is how proactively I'm working towards making my workplace a healthy and happy place. That's something that we really need to, ponder on. So two topics that we are going to cover today. One is your communication style and one is your conflict resolution style. That will definitely help you to understand what should be my right way of communicating, where I am happy and my people are happy. My team is happy. My colleagues are happy. My seniors are happy. My juniors are happy. A lot of time when we enjoy a position we have where we have people working for us, under us as our juniors, we don't understand or we don't realize the importance of them being there as our assets. And the third such topic that we are going to talk about is how do you create high performing teams. Will be an eye opening for all of you when you will get to see what am I doing and what is the right way of nurturing my team. So we'll be talking at length about that. But right now, what I want to emphasize is it's very important to value your team. If you're a senior, you will never be able to do anything on your own. If you think sitting in my room, I can do everything, it wouldn't be possible. So it's very important to see how you can take your juniors with you. And if you are a junior, then you've got to understand the experience and the knowledge your senior may have. And then how do you align with that person? So there is a easy and good exchange of information and relationship and energy. Plus, you enjoy being there. I think the most important thing is when you enjoy doing something, it doesn't, hurt you. It doesn't pain you. You thoroughly, give your 200% of that workplace. So coming back to the topic that we were discussing in the last class, and that was our communication style. So if, as I said, that we all communicate in 4 different ways. So 4 styles are: one is passive communication, where we just keep quiet and withdraw from the situation. The second one is passive aggressive, where we don't say anything on the face, but then inside we are cribbing, which is the most common one. Let's admit, which is the most common one, because we have not been able to assert, we have not been able to honestly express ourselves. Could be because of any reason. It could be because of hierarchy. It could be because of the insecurity. It could be because of the shyness. It could be because we fear that there can be repercussions or I can be, punished for what I'm saying. As a result, we don't exercise our rights, but we feel very frustrated inside. So it's going to affect your mental health and also work performance. The third style is some of us are very aggressive. Just, within moments we can boil from 0 to 100. And then we don't realize what we say or what we do or how we act. Of course, later on we all realize, okay, that was not the right way. But then at times we say, I don't have control on my anger. I don't know how to really stop myself from saying. And the right one is assertive communication style, where you express yourself in a very honest, mature manner. We are going to discuss all these 4 styles at length because that's what is going to lay foundation of a healthy, responsible, mature relationship at workplace. So your scores, if I see, let me quickly see the scores once again. If you have a look, we'll quickly first have a look at the scores and then we have a discussion around it. Okay, so if I may start from the beginning. So for example, Urvashi, in your case, both the scores, that is assertion score and passive score are almost in the same range. So that means you are using both these styles alternatively. I think we discussed this last time also. But this is just to bring in here so that we are reminded of our scores. Okay, so if I go by Dr. Sunyana Gupta's scores, your highest score is assertion. Again, you will try assertion, but if that doesn't help you, then you may move on to passive communication rather than being passive aggressive or being aggressive. Taranpreet, again, your highest score is assertion. Again, it's a good score, but again, there's a possibility either you will become aggressive or you can become passive if you see at your scores. Okay, Ritika, your scores are interesting. Your scores say, I can't see Ritika. Is she there? Yes, ma'am. I can see you. Yeah. So your scores are interesting. You use, assertion quite often, but if that does not work, then you're very likely to move on to aggression or passive aggression. Do you agree with your scores? Unmute your device.
Ma'am, I have mistakenly written 10, 16, 18, and 20, and the exact score is 15, 7, 6, and 17.
Can you please write again? Please write once again. It's okay?
Yes, ma'am.
We can let go of those
Yes, ma'am.
scores. Okay, Ishani, I think last time also we discussed your scores. Did we discuss your scores last time? So if I look at your scores, your assertion score is low. So if you're not, asserting enough, then risk is you will be using other ways of communication. And in your case, passive and both passive aggressive and aggressive are almost in the same range. Okay, what more can we see? Yeah. So Ritika has put her scores once again. So again, you try assertion, but there's all possibility that you will become passive also, because your scores are 15, 7, 6, and 17. So alternatively, you are using these two scores, passive or assertive communication. Okay. So there are 3 more messages. Let me see. Yeah. Dr. Archana, again, in your case, your assertion scores are not very high. I would encourage you to, all of you, because assertion is the way to happiness. Assertion is not being rude or authoritative. And once I'll explain you these, the ways to do it, you will actually find it very useful and helpful, and it's doable. It's nothing. We normally fear to speak, because we fear that we may say something that can cause confusion, or that can cause, that can upset the other person. But then we have to learn how to put things in a manner that they go across as your honest submission and not as a complaint or blaming somebody. We'll take a situation and do a role play around it. So that will definitely help you. So let me quickly share the screen with you. Any questions about your scores? Anybody? Any questions about your scores? You're all okay with your scores? Okay. So let me share the screen with you and discuss the 4 styles of communication that we all use. And let's look at what is helpful and what is not helpful. I hope the slide is visible. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So this is just to tell you how do we normally, handle our disagreement. A lot of us use passive communication. So as you see in the picture, you won't speak, but then you are not happy with what you did. In passive communication, we allow our rights to be violated by others by failing to express our honest feeling. So you may not be okay with what is being said or being told or being done, but you will not speak for yourself. As a result, you will be, violating your own rights, and you're allowing others also to violate. So the goal of this kind of communication is to avoid conflict no matter what. So even whatever cost you have to pay for it, you wouldn't mind, but you will still stick to the passive communication style. Often, one would not share their honest opinion and would defer to others for opinion. So they say, "Jo baki log keh rahe hain, that's okay." Whatever you say they will normally, come out with this stand. When you look at their behavior, they will make very little eye contact because there is somewhere hesitation and lack of, confidence in self. Even their tone of voice will not be, firm and very clear. They will be very low and quiet tone. A lot of times they are fumbling. You will have to actually ask them, "Aapne kya bola abhi? Nahi, mujhe samajh nahi aaya. Dobara batayenge ek bari kya bol rahe the?" So usually their first communication will not be very clear and concrete. Now, if I may ask you, what is the Of course, there's very little risk involved because it's the safest way to handle a situation. So if I may ask you, what is the disadvantage of using this style? If we are using passive communication style excessively, once in a while it's okay, but if you're using this excessively, please write in the chat box, what is the disadvantage of using this style of communication? Absolutely. Very nice. You will be left out and you will lose interest. Definitely. If you're not participating, if you're not part of it, you're going to lose interest. We keep grudges against each other. Absolutely. Because you're unhappy. You're unhappy with yourself. You're unhappy with people. Then person will be taken for granted. Absolutely, Natasha. I think this is very important. Nobody will care for what you need or what you want. You'll be just taken for granted. People take us for granted and your opinion is not deemed necessary. Absolutely, Tanvit, I agree with you. Not getting satisfied with anything, cribbing and creating negative energy. Yes, Ritika, that's what happens when we are not happy. So we are not radiating positive energy in the environment. We are carrying that negative energy within ourselves. And then you end up getting bitter and lose efficiency. Yes, I absolutely agree with Dr. Archana. His or her opinions will not be considered. Yes, it's not considered valuable because we now don't assert, we don't share our opinion. Nobody actually gets to know what my opinion is. And as a result, a lot of time you may have a wonderful idea, but because you are hesitant to speak, you may not come out with that thought. So passive communication is fine at certain places, but then it is actually harmful. It's going to affect your mental health. It is going to affect your self-confidence. It's going to affect even your growth in life because you're taking the safest route. Nobody's going to care for what you want or what you need. Dr. Geeta says person will lose interest and will be discouraged. Absolutely, because and we might say it's others who are dominating us, and therefore I become a passive communicator. When people are aggressive around me, that is how I become passive communicator. Let me tell you, there are ways to express your feelings in even non-verbal manner. And we'll talk about it. If you put a question to me, if somebody in the, in my senior position is being aggressive with me, how do I handle it or how do I manage it? And we'll talk about it. How do you really go about managing that? So some of the examples that I can share with you about the passive communication is very often you will see people saying this, I don't know. So they'll not come out with their opinion. The usual answer will be, I don't know. Or they may say, whatever you think, that's okay. It doesn't matter. So they have an idea. They will not express, but they will say, okay, whatever you think is okay. They may even say you have more experience than me, please you decide. So they will not share what they think is right, but they will put the onus on you. And they may also say, okay, whatever the group says, I'm okay with that. Let the group decide for all of us. I don't mind. I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. Once in a while, this is perfectly all right. I'm not saying it has to be zero. It should be minimum. Only when things don't matter, it actually does not affect you. It's okay. Okay. But if we are using this as a style of communication, it can actually be very, very detrimental to your own mental health. Now, when is passivity appropriate? One, when issues are very minor. It's all right. If whatever group is saying, agree with it. There's no need to make an issue of everything. So pick your battles very carefully. When issues are minor, you can stay quiet, save energy, I would rather say. Second is when the result of pushing the issue would cause more problems than the benefit. You fight tooth and nail for something which doesn't make much of a difference. So you will see people fighting for the window seat in a half an hour journey. I mean, what is the point of being so aggressive about it? No, that is my seat. I should be sitting there. That's my seat. So a lot of time we push things for no genuine reason. When there is a power differential, sorry, this is, and it is not in your favor. When there is a power differential and it is not in your favor, that means when you know the other person is in a position where actually you will not be able to do anything or say much, at times you have to, take that passive, stand at that moment, especially when you see the other person agitated and aggressive. Also, when the other person's position is impossible to change because of law, you know that that person is in that position. So it's all right to use this in that particular situation. Another way of handling disagreement is passive aggressive. So a lot of us actually, instead of being passive alone, we get into passive aggressive. Like if you saw your answers, cribbing, backbiting, talking ill about people, that's all like passive aggressive. You will not say anything on face, but you will carry that grudge. So people who are in passive aggressive communication style, they will forfeit their rights initially. And later on, they will actually, manipulate things and they'll come out of vengeance. They'll talk ill about others. The goal of this style is to avoid conflict and then make the other party wish that they had seen it in your way. आपने मेरे से पूछा नहीं, अगर मेरे से पूछे तो मैं तो आपको इतना अच्छा आइडिया देती कि ये प्रॉब्लम आनी ही नहीं थी. भाई आजकल के बच्चे इतने स्मार्ट हैं, वो हमसे पूछते नहीं, अगर पूछे तो हमारा एक्सपीरियंस किस दिन काम आएगा. So when I'm coming out with these kind of thoughts, it's a passive aggressive communication. अरे भाई इनको आजकल हमारी जरूरत नहीं है. Again, this is a passive aggressive communication style. So they would behave passively on the face, but later aggressively when those people about whom they are talking, they're not around. Lot of us get into this style of communication and we think it's okay to ventilate at somebody's back. If I may ask you, how much does this really help in the workplace, and what are the disadvantages of using this style of communication? Write in the chat box. And how will that affect your personal growth and also work performance at workplace? Yeah, only sometimes it can save time, absolutely. Pseudo support can be furnished from other people. Yes, I agree with you, Natasha. Yes, you lose credibility. Absolutely. I think, Rishi, that's a very, spot on. You lose credibility and integrity among peers. Work environment becomes unhealthy. People would know you for this. भाई ये मुंह पे नहीं बोलेंगे, पीठ पीछे बात करेंगे. इनसे criticism आना ही आना है. इनसे negative feedback आना ही आना है. Loss of trust. Absolutely, Dr. Sunana Gupta, I agree with you. Yes, you lose trust of people. Agreed, Dr. Ishani. Breeds groupism, less of constructing efforts and creativity. Absolutely, I agree with the answers that you're giving. And then you lose trust of people, and there will occur groupism in professional. Yes, and that's very, very unhealthy. You may think that I have people who are there to support me, but honestly, that's not going to be a real, productive way of functioning in a workplace. Others may manipulate your words and disrupt the image. Yes, if you are using this style, there's always a risk. Today's friend can be tomorrow's, I don't want to use word enemy, but may not be as good friend as the person is today. So your words can go against you. So plus at the workplace, there always will be tug of war. Always people will have to struggle to get the work done. There will not be cooperative synergy at workplace. For everything and anything, you will have to actually plan to overcome the resistance that you already can, kind of predict or think will be there. So this style of communication at workplace is absolutely detrimental to everybody's, growth, progress, and workplace performance. Now, some of the examples you will see, they'll say, yes sir, I'll do it. Forgotten. They'll say, yes, yeah, I'll be there, don't worry, I will be the first one to be there. They will usually miss the deadlines. They'll give you reasons. बच्चा बीमार था, इंटरनेट काम नहीं कर रहा था, कोई घर पर आ गया था. I mean, reasons which you cannot question. So you'll see them, missing deadlines and not meeting the commitments. Then sarcasm, very often they will use. And then behind people's back, they will talk things like this. So these are some of the examples you will very often. Can you give some examples of passive-aggressive communication that you have experienced? Of course, not naming anybody or anything, just generally what you get to see. Can you give some more examples?
तुमने ऐसी सिचुएशन क्रिएट की, इसीलिए मैंने ऐसा बिहेव किया.
Yes, very often. तुम्हारी वजह से ये सारा कुछ हुआ है. Very often, very true, very true. So they would blame you for this situation, and whatever behavior they exhibit, they kind of put it as though it's a reaction to what you did or response to what you did. Another way of handling disagreement, which we see sometimes when people get into active aggression. So people who get into active aggression, you will see that they would not mind arguing and fighting and raising their voice. So the idea behind aggressive communication is to win at all cost and to be always right. Because I am senior, because I am your teacher, because I am your mother, because I am your father, so I am right. And therefore what I say will have to be agreed upon. अगर मैंने कह दिया है कि ये काम ऐसे होगा, तो ऐसे ही होगा. So especially when we try to micromanage things and we become adamant on that, we'll use a lot of aggressive communication with people around us. They would protect their rights at the expense of others. आपके घर पे क्या हो रहा है, मुझे उससे कोई लेना देना नहीं है. आपको ट्रैवल टाइम कितना लगता है, मेरा उससे कोई लेना देना नहीं है. आपको ये काम करने में कितना टाइम लगेगा, ये मेरी सिरदर्दी नहीं है. ये आपकी जिम्मेदारी आपको करना है, चाहे शाम को लेट तक बैठ के करो या सुबह जल्दी आके करो. So what we are doing, we are protecting our rights at the expense of others, and we don't care for their issues and concerns. The aggressive people also do not consider the consequences of their actions. So sometimes they will do something or say something which can actually hurt people, which can harm people, which can actually affect their image in the system. But because they are aggressive in nature, so they will usually be impulsive also. So out of impulsivity, they may say something that may actually do more harm than any good, and they may also repent, but then they haven't done it thoughtfully, so they have to face the consequences. So you will see these people will use a lot of anger. If you look at their eye contact and facial expressions, they'll be very angry and intimidating. Also, they will never defer to others. They'll always control, they'll always say, my say is the final say. Lot of energy, loud and belittling others, often use violence or verbal abuse when they are interacting with people. Now, some of the examples of aggressive communication, I don't know why you can't see that this is the best way to do it. So according to them, what they have chosen or decided or that they've said, that's the only way to do it. What do you know about this place? I'm here for the last so many years. You are a newcomer, so you got to listen to what I'm saying. Or they may say, you're just stupid if you think that will work. I don't care what you feel. I don't care how much you will have to work. I don't care from where you come. I don't care what is happening at your family front. So that will be their way of communicating. And then who gave you the license to practice, especially with the junior ones? We see a lot of, very senior professors, out of arrogance, they would insult their residents in front of patients and their family members and would use these kind of, so जो doctor किसने बना दिए है? I mean, they don't mind using this kind of language with their, So people who have the habit of using aggressive communication, they really need to consider the following. One, that attacking somebody by name calling or accusing is typically going to shut down all further productive communication. Other person is not going to give his or her 100%, will actually avoid you. So I remember I received a call from one of the students who was junior resident in one of the department. So she said that a resident shouted at me in front of patients and other doctors so badly that I experience, panic attacks the moment I have to go in front of him. So she says, I just don't go in front of him at all. I would hide myself. The moment he comes into the department, I will just move away. So imagine if that's the kind of environment I'm creating in my workplace, how will I get the cooperation from my team? Then when the person is tempted to talk, please consider whether you truly wish to lose a good relationship, because workplace relationships are very important. Your team is very important. They are the one who are going to perform and make you successful. So do you really want to lose them? Also, before you react, give yourself a minute. See, we all have rational mind and emotional mind. Usually in such situations, emotional mind hijacks the rational mind. It freezes the rational mind. If you will give yourself a minute or a couple of seconds, honestly, your rational mind will come in place and give you a better way of expressing your opinion. So one of the ways is deep breathing, or taking a glass of water, or just moving away from that place for a few seconds and then come back and talk. So that will bring calmness. And calmness often changes the tone of communication and makes it less offensive. And we also need to really learn to sometimes, practice compromise, because that's the way things move actually. A lot of time aggression is overlooked also. So if it's used once in a while, it's okay, because when it's an emergency or crisis situation, people normally overlook aggression. If senior is getting angry, you will say it's okay, it was a crisis situation, but this person is not bad in temperament. When there is no time for discussion and explanation, so naturally you would just be giving order in emergency or crisis that this has to be done, no questions asked, and people will normally listen to you. When there is no time to utilize assertive skills, there's no time to now sit and talk and discuss and explain. So you'll say, okay, I'm giving you the order and you got to listen. And when you are the only one who can save this situation. So in those situations, yes, people will overlook your aggression. But if you are using this as primary way of handling situations, trust me, you will be a one-man army or a one-woman army. People will not enjoy your company. People will not like coming to you. Especially, they will never confine into you. They will not be happy working with you. So it's very, very important to look into the way we behave. So this is, you can see, combination of all three. People who use passive communication, you'll see them coming chronologically late for the meeting or occasion. If you call them, there will be failure to return call. They may not pick your call and they may not even call you back. And when you ask them, oh, sorry, I forgot. Oh, sorry, I was busy. Sorry, I didn't see it. Sorry, my phone was on silent mode. Then they may often, would have inappropriate or inadequate charts because their performance will not be up to the mark. They will avoid meetings. They will avoid particular people. Even in meeting, they will be non-participant. They would not actively participate, proactively give their ideas. And usually for anything and everything, they'll be ill-prepared because they are not interested to do so. They want to be, left out or kept away. So they may use this as a technique to. People who are aggressive, they are more likely to use anger and threat. You will find them yelling publicly, degrading their team members. So a lot of time when I see, consultants shouting at their residents in front of patients, trust me, by doing this, you are actually increasing your work, because next time your resident will go and say something to the patient, that patient will not trust that resident. They will say, आपसे नहीं मैंने बात करनी, अपने senior से बात करवाइए. So that's not the right way. You will see them using intimidating ways with their staff, with nurses, with housekeeping staff, with general duty assistants. You'll find them very rude and misbehaved. Even with patients and colleagues, you'll find them, shouting at them. They'll be pushing, throwing objects. I asked a group of doctors, when patients misbehave, how do you handle them? So one of them said, कि मैं तो उनके कागज फाड़ के उनके मुंह पर फेंक देता हूँ कि भाग जाओ यहाँ से. So if patient is misbehaving, I have to deal with that. But my throwing his case file and tearing his paper is not the right way of responding to that situation. So, but very often you will see in OT, we see a lot of surgeons throwing instruments. Suppose if the nurse has given a wrong instrument, they'll throw on the floor and say, "This is the instrument you're supposed to be giving." And we have seen this happening. Then outburst of anger, physical abuse, swearing, these are all very common among people who use aggressive communication style. People who use passive aggressive, they will not come out with anger. They'll usually write hostile notes. They'll be exchanging messages that would carry, element of anger and complaint. They'll give derogatory comments about institution, about people, about, people around them. Then there can be inappropriate joking also, because that's the way they want to, make mockery of people. Can also go to the extent of sexual harassment, especially with juniors, with people with whom they can get away with. And there'll be a lot of complaining and blaming by these people, because they are the one who would, be writing all the complaints to others. So these are the three different ways we see people around us. I'm sure you will be able to identify somebody in your mind. Okay, this person falls in this category. The idea is these three are all actually unhealthy. The right way of communication is where you respect your needs and you respect the needs of others, where you respect your rights and you respect the rights of others. The other person can be a patient, patient's attendant, my junior, my general duty staff, a nurse, or housekeeping staff. It doesn't make a difference. Am I communicating in the right way? So assertive communication is where you protect your rights without violating the rights of others. For me to be respected, I don't have to disrespect anybody. So I have to respect others' right. So when you use word aap with your children or with your juniors or with your patient, it's perfectly all right. You deserve respect, so do they. So you do not violate their rights. Also, the goal of this communication is to communicate with respect and also understand others' point of view. See, a lot of us actually think assertion is being adamant. So I want to clarify. The idea is not being adamant. Assertion is where you give your viewpoint in an honest manner. Then you listen to the other person's viewpoint, which may be very different from your viewpoint. You still respect that opinion. It's okay. Although we don't agree on it, but I still respect your opinion. And then you try to work to find a win-win solution where both the things can be done. For example, you say, I have to take leave tomorrow. And your junior says, ma'am, even I am on leave. I have an urgent piece of work. So I can't say, no, I don't know. I am not budging. I am going on leave. You got to see how you manage it. So what I'm doing, I'm protecting my rights, but maybe the other person also has an equally important work. On the contrary, if you sit with your staff and you say, okay, I have an important work, I can see even you have something very important. And if you check with that person, are you sure that you cannot cancel your leave tomorrow? And the person says, no, I cannot cancel. It's very urgent. It's okay. So that means I also need leave and you also need leave. Let's see how we can find a solution. And once you'll start finding a solution, you'll get a lot of solutions. Maybe both of you will agree to do half day. Maybe both of you will agree to find a substitute for both of you who can, work in your place. Maybe you can cut down your work or postpone your work to another date. So the idea is you tell what you want, then you listen to the other person, what the other person wants. And if both of you can see that this is important to both, and then how do you create a win-win situation where both are okay with the idea. So assertive communicator, you will see, will always maintain eye contact. They will present their wishes clearly and respectfully. They'll be confident and strong, yet flexible. Not that I have decided, I don't care what happens with you. They'll be flexible, open to new ideas, open to new ways. They'll be objective and do not get easily overwhelmed. नहीं नहीं ये तो हो ही नहीं सकता, मैं तो कर ही नहीं सकती, ये तो चलेगा ही नहीं. Not that. They will say, okay, let's find out. I'm sure there's a way out to it. They would listen and validate others. So when they see others saying something, not that they will say, no, I don't want to listen all this. This is all silly. I don't care. But rather they listen and validate what the other person is saying. Okay, I understand it's important for you. So some of the examples are, so what you're saying is this. Or I can see this is important to you and it is important to me also. Perhaps we can talk more respectfully and try to solve the problem. So there can be conflict between two of you, but you decide to sit and talk and resolve the conflict. Very often you will see them using these I think, I feel, I believe. And very often you will see them using we. Let us try to find out. We and us. Let us try to find out. Let us do it together. Let us see how we can manage it. Let us see how this can be handled. So you will see them using these words very, very often. I would appreciate if you. So that means they would actually, they're putting a request in a more cordial way to, give you a chance to say yes or no. Let us see how we can find a suitable solution. So you'll see them using these words very, very often. Even in your communication, I would request you to integrate this style to make sure that your assertion becomes more powerful. Now, see, we normally think people are difficult. They only seem difficult to the extent that's because we don't have the skill to deal with them. We don't know how to deal with them because what they bring to the table is something that we have not learned to deal with. But if we work on assertive communication skills, I think you can manage most of the situation. Now, what will help in assertive communication? One is objectivity. Usually people or situation will have a problem and an emotion. So very objectively, we have to focus on the problem and not on the emotion. What happens? I'm very annoyed with you. You don't listen to me. So you don't listen to me is a problem. And I'm very annoyed with you is the emotion. So very smartly, we have to segregate. Okay, let's park the emotion on one side and focus on the problem. Use validation. What is validation, by the way? Use validation skill to handle others' emotion. Any idea what is validation? Anybody? You can unmute and speak.
Sort of approval, be in agreement with something.
Acknowledgement. For example, a junior comes crying for something that I said and she's really upset. She comes crying. I can see she's very upset. Reason could be right or wrong, that is secondary. And if I say, I can see you're very disturbed, I can see you're very upset. Tell me what is the issue. So I'm validating the emotion. A lot of time when people come with an emotion and we don't validate, इसमें रोने वाली क्या बात है? इतनी बड़ी तो कोई बात ही नहीं जितना आपने issue बना दिया. So not only I'm not validating, I'm actually invalidating. अच्छा बताओ क्या हुआ? आप बहुत अपसेट हो, कोई बात नहीं, पानी पियो, बताओ क्या हुआ? So what I'm doing, I'm validating, quietening, and focusing on the issue. So that's again an art that we have to learn. So when we validate, you just kind of acknowledge that they seem to be upset. When patients come with complaint, मेरी रिपोर्ट नहीं मिल रही है, मैं 4 बार यहाँ पर आया हूँ, आपका स्टाफ बिल्कुल बेकार है, किसी काम का नहीं है आपका स्टाफ. सो यू कैन सी दैट एंगर. आपको पता है यहाँ कितना काम करते हैं हम लोग. That's my retaliation. On the contrary, I can see you're very upset. Wait a second, sit down. बताइए क्या problem है. I'll try to help you. So what you're doing, you're validating the emotion and you're taking the focus on the issue. How can I help you? How can I resolve it? So after you validate the emotion, the person becomes okay. मेरे anger को इन्होंने acknowledge करा, मेरे रोने को इन्होंने acknowledge करा, मेरे upset होने को acknowledge करा. So that really helps to calm the person and bring him to a point where the person can talk effectively. So people's perspective are important to them. It's very important to validate them and then get to the issue. अगर सामने वाले का anger, aggression, रोना, upset होना हमने acknowledge नहीं करा, तो उसे लगता है कि मेरी feelings की कोई कीमत नहीं है. है ना, बच्चा भी जब घर पे रोता है. हाँ जी बोलो.
मैम समटाइम्स अगर एंगर और अग्रेशन को भी एक्नॉलेज तो अदर पर्सन टेक्स लाइक कि देखा मैंने उस टाइम उसको बोला था, आई वाज राइट एंड सो सामने वाले ने मेरा सुना है.
सुनना तो हमें है ही है, क्योंकि हमें रिजॉल्व करना है. ठीक है. एक्नॉलेज करने का मतलब ये नहीं है कि मैं आपके एंगर को वैलिडेट कर रही हूँ इन अ मैनर दैट इट इज ओके टू बी एंग्री, बट आई एम आउटराइट नॉट इनवैलिडेटिंग बाय सेइंग इसमें गुस्सा आने वाली क्या बात है, इसमें रोने वाली क्या बात है. नहीं, आई एम जस्ट सेइंग आई कैन सी यू आर वेरी एंग्री, टेल मी योर प्रॉब्लम, लेट मी सी हाउ आई कैन हेल्प यू. मे बी द एंगर इज वेरी जेन्युइन और मे बी द एंगर इज नॉट जेन्युइन. है ना. इफ द एंगर और द अनहैप्पीनेस इज नॉट जेन्युइन, देन ऐसे कि देखिए आप अपनी जगह गुस्सा हो रहे हैं, मैं समझ सकती हूँ क्योंकि आपको 2 घंटे वेट करनी पड़ी, लेकिन हमारे एंड पर भी कभी कोई चैलेंज हो सकता है.
ओके.
कभी कोई इमरजेंसी आ गई है और अगर हम लोग ओटी में है या हम इमरजेंसी में है तो वी आर नॉट एबल टू अटेंड टू यू. सपोज ये पेशेंट आपसे अगर झगड़ा कर रहा है ना. सो दैट मीन्स एक्नॉलेजिंग इज नॉट, आई एम सेइंग इट्स ओके. और एक्नॉलेज करने के बाद में मैं अगर उसकी एंगर से ओवरवेल्म होके मैं डिफेंस पे चली गई या मैंने अगर उसको, उसने जो कहा मैंने उसको मान लिया, दैट इज रॉन्ग. एक्नॉलेज करने के बाद में आई वांट टू नाउ लिसन टू द इशू and then we will talk and see what are the possible options available. That's something I'm saying. So it is very important to understand that people will come with a perspective. You don't have to agree with it, but just validating, I can see you're very upset, I can see you're very tired, I can see you're very, I mean, and usually those emotions are not wrong. आप खुद बताओ, कभी आपको किसी चीज पे गुस्सा आ रहा होता है या रोना आ रहा होता है या आप सैड होते हो, इज दैट अ रॉन्ग इमोशन एट दैट मोमेंट? इंटेंसिटी may go wrong, some people overreact, but usually the emotion is not wrong. Very rarely you will see we have a wrong emotion to an issue. It can, intensity can go wrong, we might overreact, but when you acknowledge somebody's emotion, that helps to calm them. Now they may come up with criticism. So very important is, normally this person criticizes, we become defensive. So to start with, I think we have to listen to the point of view of the other person. For example, okay, and then accept that criticism as feedback rather than attack. Sometimes the moment somebody says something in our way of functioning, we consider it as feedback. As criticism. Whereas it's actually not criticism, it is feedback. It's very important to acknowledge the true facts said by the person so that you get an idea, that person gets an idea that you are open to listening. See what happens when you don't, acknowledge even the true fact, they'll say, you are not here to listen and help. You don't want to help. So it's very important what the person says is right. मेरी रिपोर्ट नहीं मिल रही है. If a patient comes and tells you, मेरी रिपोर्ट नहीं मिल रही, मैं 2 घंटे से घूम रहा हूँ, तो it's a true fact. It's a true fact. मैं समझ सकती हूँ आपको दिक्कत हो रही है, 2 मिनट मुझे टाइम दीजिए, let me see how I can help you. In case if we have erred somewhere, it's always good to acknowledge the error. That's very important, because arguing for something wrong that you have done it's baseless. It's not going to, build your credibility. And if the criticism is not true, acknowledge the statement and the feeling expressed by the individual, and then state your opinion, interpretation, and provide additional fact. For example, let's take an example on the next page. Okay. Somebody says, you informed everyone about the program, but you did not bother to inform me. So this is seen as a criticism. Suppose it's one of your colleagues who is saying this. And the second statement, the person says, you never keep me in the loop and you decide things on your own. So these are nothing but, negative, words coming from the other person, which are seen as criticism. So in case if you think what the person has said is right, accept, yes, I agree, I forgot to inform you. I'm really sorry. I thought you will be informed by your department, or your HOD will inform you, or your concerned authorities will inform you. I think there has been an error from my side. So the moment you will acknowledge it, I think the whole anger would fizzle out. Usually we argue and fight on things like this, where actually the issue is very small, but the anger is very big behind it. So if you say, if the person has said something, yes, I agree, I forgot to inform you, but that was not with the intention to hide anything from you. I had already passed on the message to your HOD or your colleague. She was supposed to be communicating with you. I'm sorry that it did not get communicated. So what you have done, you have said the same thing in a very matter-of-fact manner. And you have provided additional fact to let the person know. Or maybe you tried calling that person, or you messaged that person did not pick your call, or did not see the message. You say, I'm sorry, I had messaged you, just check your message. I messaged you the same day. Oh, I'm sorry, I did not see the message. The anger will fizzle out. So a lot of time people will criticize. Just you got to hold on and not get, overwhelmed. That can help you handle a situation. A lot of things actually are wrong on our side also. It's very important sometimes to own what is wrong with me. If the person's point of view is valid, own it. The idea is being assertive does not mean that you argue on a wrong point to prove it right. The person is right, say, yes, it's my mistake, I did it. Being assertive means that you own what is yours, so where you have gone wrong. For example, if I have anger issues, I need to admit, yes, I know I really need to work on my anger. How many of us really are ready to own our or our own behavioral issues? So if I may give all of you a chance to write in the chat box to own your shortcomings, would you write at least one of them that you want to really work on? A golden opportunity to admit and also acknowledge and agree that I'll work on it. Thank you, Dr. Urushi, for writing. Lack of confidence and short temper. Yes. Thank you, Dr. Sunana Gupta, for writing to accept my mistakes. It's a huge submission. When you're writing things like this, it really requires a lot of courage too. But let me tell you, I'll give you an interesting, science behind it. Therefore, I'm asking you to write this. I feel owning for my behavior means I lose the battle. Oh my goodness, such a beautiful mistake. So I avoid it. Anger and loss of patience. Absolutely, absolutely. I really, really appreciate, honestly, my real appreciation goes for all of you. I don't assert, always keep pondering what if the other person is right and better than me. Thank you, Dr. Archana, for saying that. Natasha says, keeping in memory others' fault. Yes, not able to let go. Natasha, I agree with you. Accepting the mistake is difficult, Dr. Shivani. I completely agree. It's a huge, huge submission that all of you are making. And I really thank you and congratulate you for this submission. There are 4 stages of learning. The first stage is unconscious incompetence. We don't know that we don't know. We don't know that we have all these things. Before you wrote this, I don't think you ever admitted to yourself, okay, I have anger issues, or I am not assertive, or I am not able to forget and forgive people. So the first stage is unconscious incompetence. The second stage is conscious incompetence. So what you have written in the chat box is second stage, that is conscious incompetence. Okay, these are the things that interfere with my workplace, professional behavior or actions. The third stage is conscious competence. We are discussing about assertion. We are discussing about owning your mistakes. We are discussing about accepting criticism. We are discussing about let go, forget, forgive, forget. There are more things we are going to talk in today's session. All that when you will start implementing, that will be stage 3, which is most difficult and called conscious competence, where you will have to make effort to come out of your comfort zone, to come out of your old habit. And the fourth stage is unconscious competence, when assertion will become your way of communicating, when assertion will become your way of handling all situations. And it is not here only on the in your workplace, even in your personal life. When you will start using assertion, you'll find it so very useful, meaningful, helpful, calming, building your confidence, earning credibility, earning people's respect, because they know you will not talk nonsense. You will talk only sensible thing, but what you say, you mean it. You really mean it. This comes with a lot of practice. Assertion is a skill that comes with a lot of practice. But once you will learn it, it will improve a lot of your areas at one go. So once you will start using assertion as a regular way of communicating with people, it will become part of your persona. It will become part of your life. So congratulations, all of you have started with one issue that you want to work on. And assertion will help you on this. The moment you say, yes, I'm sorry, I did this, what you have actually disarmed the other person, isn't it? If you say, when you said this to me, that was very hurtful, and I say, I'm really sorry, Natasha, I said this to you. I didn't mean it, but I don't know, in that spur of moment, I really lost my, I'm really sorry, I'll take care. Will Natasha have anything more to say?
Ma'am, after all these 4 are discussed, I have a question I will ask.
Sure. You want to ask after this?
Yes, ma'am, when all 4 ways of communication are finished after
Absolutely.
these, then.
Absolutely. Sure. So sometimes when people give you false information, you have to ask for evidence. So when you ask for evidence, there are 2 things. If you get evidence, you get to accept that. And if there is no base for the false allegation, the person would automatically get to see that the person is not, rightfully blaming you for, for something that you haven't done. So for example, when attacked with false information or negative statement, do not lose your calm. That's the first thing that you have to remember. Perturb nahi hona, overwhelm nahi hona, because sabse pehla ye hota hai, because we have rational mind and emotional mind. The moment there is an attack, our emotional mind gets activated, and rational mind को freeze कर देता है. Emotion इतनी बड़ी हो जाती है कि issue छोटा सा होता है, reaction इतना बड़ा हो जाता है, और दोनों तरफ से same emotional game चल रही होती है. So for example, if somebody says, you keep things to yourself, you never keep me in the loop. So I've highlighted 2 words. So these are very generalized kind of accusation. You keep things to yourself, you never keep me in the loop, you don't share the information. So you've got to challenge this. Chances are you are going to become defensive. No, man, I've never done it like this. How can you say this? I've always informed you, like whatever. So what will happen? This is going to escalate emotion. So ask for evidence. Ma'am, always. Have I never kept you in the loop? Can you give me some more examples where I did not let you know or I did not inform you? Somebody says, you always come late. Because this, we have a tendency to generalize. You never inform that you will not be coming. These are again very generalized kind of accusation. So ask for evidence. And if that person is able to give you an evidence, yeah, see, yesterday also you were late, day before also you were late, usse pehle bhi tum late aaye the, tum phone bhi nahi karte ho, that there's a grain of truth that I need to work on myself. Yes, ma'am, you're right. For the last 1 week, I'm not coming on time. There's a grain of truth. In case, and if you accept this, it will actually knock down the barrier wall. Again, it will open the door for discussion about the real problem. But if you just keep arguing and say, no, what you're saying is wrong, that's not going to help you. So if it is true, agree. If it is not true, automatically when you will ask for evidence, you will get an answer that will either quieten you or quieten the other person. So sometimes, perspectives are hard to change and you cannot actually directly challenge them. So sometimes you have to also say, it's all right, that's your opinion. And I'm sorry, I don't agree with you, but you're more than entitled to hold your opinion. Of course, something like this we can't tell to our seniors. That's not the right appropriate language to speak. But with your colleagues when you talk, with your family members when you talk, you agree to disagree. Even that can create peace. So it's all right to sometimes say, it's okay, I think what you think from your point of view may be right, but I do not agree with you, and it's all right. Plus, if you disagree and if you provide a factual information, that strengthens your stand. So if you say, actually, I was at work, so I couldn't have been there. So, for example, you don't attend your work well. So I was in my class, or I was in the hospital, or I was doing this. So you are giving a factual information that automatically will tell the other person that whatever the reason was. Sometimes even pumping the negatives help. For example, if somebody is criticizing you, ask for more negative feedback. What more do you think I'm not doing right? Can you tell me more? So again, the idea is not to, pump the negatives to fight or increase the, aggression, but basically you try to understand what more I really need to work on. So that's another good way. And then you will be, if the criticism is baseless, the person will become quiet. But if the person has some, valid points, that will help you to improve yourself or your services. Persistence, another important thing that you have to keep in mind. People usually will overwhelm you with emotions. Stay focused on the issue. Do not get distracted. And, the moment you will become defensive, it's going to create imbalance. The other person may try to bring in some past issues or unrelated issues. Don't get distracted. Repeat the bottom line. I think it's okay. What happened in the past, we can discuss later. But right now, the issue is this. I understand that this is what has happened. Tell me, how can we change it, or how can we make it better? So very mindfully, you'll have to stick to the bottom line and focus on the issue. Humor. How many of you use humor to solve a situation? Has anybody has ever tried?
Ma'am, many a times.
Many a times. कोई एग्जांपल बताओ.
मैम, अगर आप हंस के किसी को बोलोगे तो उसका इम्पैक्ट, द नेगेटिव थिंग दैट यू वांट टू टेल, अगर उसको आप हंस के बोलोगे एंड योर लाइक फेस एक्सप्रेशंस आर गुड, तो वो इतना नेगेटिव इम्पैक्ट नहीं होता है उस पे ना.
Yes, of course, I know using humor, you require a lot of courage, especially in personal and professional relationships. At times, humor can go wrong. So we have to be definitely very careful. But please remember, humor breaks down negative emotions. So I can give you an interesting example of a surgeon whom I know, who is a practicing, bariatric surgeon in Delhi. So he's his friend of my husband, and once I was sitting with him in his clinic. Rather, I was waiting for him to come. He was in OT. So when he came out and we were sitting in his room, a patient came in and he said, "Doctor साहब, मैं आपका 2 घंटे से इंतजार कर रहा हूँ. If you had to come so late, at least you should have informed us." And this surgeon, in a very with a very genuine smile on his face, he said, "आप तो सिर्फ 2 घंटे से मेरा इंतजार करें, मैं तो आपका 20 साल से इंतजार कर रहा हूँ." And it went in the lighter way. But yes, humor is something that you have to really be very, very careful when you are, using it, because sometimes it can go wrong. People may not, like your
It should
way
not
of.
hurt, ma'am. It should not hurt the other person's feelings.
Yes, absolutely. It should not hurt. It should not insult. It should not, offend the person.
Yes.
So at home, if I share my personal life experience, I use this very often at home. Like my husband and me, especially when we are, arguing on something that has
Yes.
no meaning. It's senseless, and we know we have come to a point where we need to now stop. But who will stop first? That's the problem. So one of us will say, "Okay, ये आपकी बारी है. इस बारी आप जीत गए. अगली बारी मेरी बारी होगी." And then we end it. मैं अगली बारी मैं देखूंगी या मैं देखूंगा. I mean, we will challenge each other and we end it. So you will have to really devise your own ways, but using humor is a wonderful way to diffuse a situation. But of course, I say you have to be very careful. So these are some of the examples you can use to how you can say the same thing but in a more assertive way. For example, when people interrupt you, we normally say, "You never let me complete. You always stop me in between." Instead, if you say firmly, "Can you please allow me to complete?" So you are respectful, your language is okay, but you actually mean that please don't interrupt me. Or when people don't work on time, we normally say, "You didn't give me the instruction on time, you don't submit your work on time, so how do I do my work? I keep waiting for you to submit your work." Instead, if you say, "I'm really getting late in making the plan, and I don't have the instructions yet, so therefore I am, I'm waiting to get the instructions." When others don't let you speak in the meeting, a lot of time we say, "You don't let me present my work during meeting. You always interrupt me when I'm presenting my work or my thoughts." So instead, if you say, "I feel frustrated during meetings with you because I don't get to present my work. I would like to do a complete presentation so that I could provide valuable inputs." General statements like, "Working in this place is impossible. None of the issues are handled properly and the whole place is falling apart." Instead, if you say, "I find it really difficult working here. I think something needs to be done about the way we handle important issues. I'm worried about the future of the organization." So these are a couple of ways, that will help you to communicate your feelings or thoughts in a more, respectful manner. So benefits of, here I would like to, before we close this topic, and then I take your question. I just want to give a couple of tips about how do you go about asserting. See, in any communication, there are a couple of things that you have to remember if you want to really assert and also segregate it from aggression. The first thing is words. Actually, you can note down because you will not get points on it. The first thing is your language and words. Make sure all through your discussion, be it with your patients, be it with your juniors, be it with your seniors, be it with your family member, anybody, even on street, make sure that your language is respectful. Never get into derogatory language. Never use tu and tum. This is something you have to always respectful language. That's one thing. Second is, when you are asserting, make eye contact. So when you make eye contact, the other person knows what you're saying, you mean it. And you want to say this. And you are really concerned about it. It's something that matters to you. Facial expression should be friendly but firm. It should not have an element of anger, aggression, intimidation. So make sure that your facial expressions and eye, contact is not aggressive. It should be friendly but firm. So when it is firm, it communicates again that you mean it and you are serious about it. It should not have an element of threat or scare. Neither you are threatening the other person, nor you are scared to speak, and also not pleading. Please कर दीजिए, please आपको देखना पड़ेगा. No, I mean it and you have to do it. That's your responsibility. So facial expressions, eye contact, tone of voice. Tone of voice has to be firm and clear. Speed of speaking. Usually when we are angry, speed increases. So very mindfully, keep your speed of speaking in the normal range. Volume. The volume of speech normally goes high. It becomes aggressive, or it goes down where we become passive communicator. So keep your volume in the normal range, your regular way. And even speed, even if it goes slightly lower, it will actually make your communication impactful because you're thinking and speaking. When you speak at a faster pace, you may lose control on the words. You may just blurt out. Whereas if you slow down your speed, you will have a very conscious control on the language. So the moment you will be able to say something that's not respectful, your mind will immediately tell you, no, that's not the right way of putting it across. If it's a serious issue, you need to talk to that person, always signpost that person. I have something to talk to you. I need to speak to you about it. Signpost. Sit and talk. Because when you sit and talk, energy to fight goes down. Be at the eye level. If you are sitting, the other person is standing. For example, you have called your junior to speak. Junior is standing and you are sitting. So you have called your student or you have called a patient. You are sitting and the other person is standing. You will have to keep your head like this. So as a result, your neck is going to be strained. After a few seconds or minutes, you're going to get tired, and that's going to add to your frustration. Or you're standing and the other person is sitting. Again, you will have to bend down to talk. It's going to strain your shoulder and neck. You're going to get tired. If it's an important issue and you have signposted, please remember, don't pick the issue when either you or the other party is in hurry, hungry, sleepy, tired, thirsty, going somewhere, or has just come home. So this is in your personal life also, what I'm saying, in all situations. If you want to assert with your kids, with your students, with your colleagues, tell them that I have something important to talk to you. There's something that's bothering me. I need to speak to you. And stick to the point. If you don't raise your voice, if you don't change your tone of voice, if you don't change your expressions, trust me, you can actually have a very fruitful discussion with the other person. When you speak, other person will listen. And if that person interrupts, say that, please allow me to complete. I'll give you a chance to tell your point of view. When the other person is speaking, listen attentively. Showcase that, yes, I am listening to you. I can understand. Even whatever is right, and if you validate, yes, I think here you are right. I think I should not have said this. This is not appropriate. I think I'll work on it. Let me check and get back to you. This is something very important. I take your point. What you are doing, you are trying to break the wall. You are trying to come to a common ground where the other person understands that you are here to resolve the problem and not to accuse him or her for the misbehavior or miscommunication. So same thing is applicable in your personal life, with your spouses, with your parents, with your children, with your family members. Even at workplace, this works very well. Assertion does not mean that what you are saying will be always agreed and accepted. Please mind it. The idea of assertion is that you could speak your heart and mind clearly. It will give you the satisfaction. I said what I had on my mind. At least I did not close myself, or I did not, stop myself from sharing what I think. I mean, even if there are 10 people who have a point of view and you don't agree with them, and if you very honestly say, see, according to my understanding, this is not the right way, but I believe group wisdom is more than individual wisdom, I go with you. I agree with you. You may still go with them, but you are happy. You expressed your disagreement in a cordial manner. Do you think that will help? So the last 2 slides on this topic, what are the benefits? By the way, what are the benefits of assertive communication? We have discussed so much at length. Now, I want to know from you, what do you think are the benefits? Write in the chat box. Clarity of thoughts, absolutely, absolutely, I agree. We speak our heart out, so we are always content. Absolutely, you'll be relaxed because you know you have been able to tell what you want to say. Relations at workplace will definitely be maintained. Absolutely, Natasha, I agree with you. You're able to express what you feel. It gives you confidence and healthy work environment. It will be helpful to put forth our ideas, opinion. You don't remain bottled up, hence work with a free mind, able to give your best. Absolutely. It gives you peace of mind for venting your feelings without hurting anybody. I think exactly that's what I want to say, what you have written. And if you assert on regular basis, there will be no accumulated anger because you have been able to say what you want to say. Ishani says you will not have any negative thoughts about anyone, as there's clarity in communication. So if there's a disagreement, you express your disagreement, but you agree to agree. That's out of choice you have chosen to agree with them. Better and transparent relationships at workplace. Others will take your opinion seriously because you would not raise objections to unnecessary issues or unnecessary things. If you will have a valid point, only then you will, disagree. And then you will earn respect and credibility. Reduce risk of exploitation and abuse because you are using your rights, you're protecting your rights, and you're respecting the rights of others also. Life becomes easy and stress-free if you use assertive communication. So summary, every time you decide to communicate, you will have a point, you will have a style of communication. Other person will also have another one. So you can make out what is the other person's style. But if you stick to assertiveness rather than, just falling in the trap and being aggressive or passive aggressive, you will lose the battle. On the other side, if you will stick to assertiveness, it will give you a, healthy way without getting overly emotional about the issue. Thank you. So this is in nutshell about assertion as a communication skill. Before we move on to the next topic, and I want to have a 5 minutes role play on a topic, on the same topic. 4 things if you can practice in workplace, I can tell you, you can win anybody and everybody in this world. And when I say workplace, even at home, same thing, same rules. And what are those 4 things? Very simple, very, very simple. One is respect others. He's your junior, senior, colleague in hierarchy, maybe general duty assistant, maybe a nurse, maybe a housekeeping staff, front desk staff, security guard. Respect. Acknowledge their contribution. You may be a very important person, but let me tell you, And people who are helping us, they don't perform their duty, we are not able to successfully do what we want to do. People who do cleaning for us, who provide water, who get things for us, who do the file work, clerks who are working in the background, people who are moving our files, people who are cleaning corridors, who are looking after the security of the building and our place, cleaning staff, maintenance staff, their contribution plays a very big role in what we are doing today. Unfortunately, in our country, we don't value that contribution. Respect for their work by acknowledging. Once in a while, if you tell them, आप बहुत अच्छे से अपना काम करते हैं. I see you really doing your work very meticulously. Third is unconditional love. When I say love, I don't mean you become friends with them, but you're friendly with them. Appreciate. And you can change any relationship. You can change any relationship. Set a code of conduct. Follow the code of conduct. Respect people unconditionally. Even if the other person becomes disrespectful, and if you stick to the point, the person will not be able to stick to be aggressive. Acknowledge, appreciate, and unconditional love. It's like family. Imagine if it's like big family and we're all, together here. You can change your work culture. Okay. Any questions before we move on to the role play?
Yes, ma'am.
Go ahead, please.
Ma'am, many a times we meet certain person who have a habit of constantly criticizing your work or your attitude or anything related to you. And each of their criticism can't be taken as a feedback. So what to do in that case?
Absolutely. Wonderful. Shivani, very nice question. So you need to address it. Now, usually what happens, we react. Either we get upset, we cry, we sulk, crib, or go and talk to others and, vent out our anger. All these ways of handling this issue is not going to resolve the issue. You need to address it. So gather your courage to speak to this person one-on-one and communicate your feelings, what you feel when the other person does like this. You will have to hold your emotions. See, I know this is a very overwhelming interaction. You can't control the other person's emotions, but if you don't reciprocate with the same intensity of emotion, the other person will also calm down. Talk to that person, tell that person how their behavior is affecting you. Sometimes when the other person is very high in hierarchy and you cannot, go, I would say go and speak. You must have that courage to communicate that in the right way. But a lot of time we cannot communicate directly. So sometimes keeping quiet and expressing through your non-verbals that I'm not okay with the way you are behaving with me also helps to make that person aware that my behavior with this particular colleague is inappropriate. Maintaining distance also helps to communicate. The person will definitely come up to you and ask, is everything okay? Why are you not behaving normally with me? Why are you not talking to me? Use that moment to tell your concern. Don't miss that chance. Never say, नहीं sir, कुछ भी नहीं है. नहीं मैम, कुछ भी नहीं है, सब ठीक है. नहीं, ऐसा कुछ नहीं है, I'm just upset. So you lost an opportunity. Say yes. I feel bad when you criticize me. Maybe I'm not doing things right. Maybe I'm very young. Maybe I'm learning. And I know you are very experienced. I'm open to learning. But I'll be really happy if you call me to your room and talk to me and explain me where I need to improve. I promise I'll work on myself. I assure you, I'll give you my best. But something that hurts me is when you tell me all this in front of others. That takes down my respect and my confidence. Do you think that can be done?
Yes, ma'am, definitely.
Difficult है, मुझे पता है. Assertion is a difficult. It's like this. पर एक बारी जब वहां पहुंच जाओगे तो उसका फन ही अलग है, उसका मजा ही अलग है. Then you can speak to anybody in any way. So once what happened, I do the program for, like I told initially, I used to program for various hospitals, like 500 programs I did for government sector. So government sector में कोई आया है, कोई आया है, नहीं आया, nobody cares, no, क्योंकि वहाँ तो ठीक है, program तो चल रहा है. So mostly जहाँ हम जाते हैं, they'll offer a glass of water, they'll offer you tea, because you know you're going to be there for 3-4 hours. So as a courtesy, that's a norm. So this is one hospital where I went, and I mean, nobody even asked even for a glass of water. चाय तो बहुत दूर की बात है, पानी नहीं पूछा उन लोगों ने, जबकि गाड़ी उन्होंने प्रोवाइड करी थी पिक एंड ड्रॉप के लिए. ऑन माई रिटर्न आई कॉल दैट डॉक्टर जो कोऑर्डिनेट कर रहे थे मेरी ट्रेनिंग, मैंने उनको बोला कि ओवरऑल इट वेंट वेरी वेल, पीपल रियली पार्टिसिपेटेड, आई थॉरली एंजॉयड, you know, the session. I'm sure participants also were very, happy. And I said, I want to give you a feedback. Are you okay if I tell you? I said, please, ma'am. लेकिन नॉर्मली जैसे कोई हमारे घर पर आता है या हमारे वर्क प्लेस पे आता है, वी ऑफर देम ए ग्लास ऑफ वाटर और ए कप ऑफ टी. आपके यहाँ पे ये भी इट्स नॉट पार्ट ऑफ द नॉर्म्स. That was enough. I didn't carry that anger with me. I communicated in a very cordial way. He was a very apologetic. I'm really sorry, ma'am. Next time जब मैं गई तो 4 चीजें उन्होंने चाय के साथ भी रखी हुई थी. बोलोगे नहीं तो सामने वाला आपको, कहते हैं ना, बच्चा रोएगा नहीं तो माँ दूध भी नहीं देती है. बोलना तो पड़ेगा. If you are ready to take disrespect, people will disrespect you. If you refuse to take disrespect, people will not dare you disrespect. अभी जब मैं यूएस, yeah, go ahead.
Ma'am,
Yeah.
sorry
Yeah.
to interrupt,
No,
ma'am.
it's okay.
पहले आप complete.
ना करो.
So, ma'am, I had two of my senior colleagues. One was male and other was female. And the male one was very calm person and near HOD position. And जो ma'am थे, she was just 1 year junior to sir. So usually sir was very calm and ma'am was very aggressive. What used to happen whenever there was some disagreement, ma'am used to come to the cabin and shout on sir. तो what sir used to do, पहले उन्होंने humbly बोला कि आप आराम से बात कीजिए, but she did not take it. Then वो next time आके जब बोलते थे, sir ने 1-2 बार और request किया, distance maintain किया, but being the colleagues, they have to confront each other many times during the official meetings. So ultimately, sir has to take this step that he used not to respond to her whatever disrespect or whatever emotion she used to show on him. So I also took that ideal way of communication with these kind of persons. Unfortunately, in a long run, I have to meet such person in my workplace. And I use the same thing. Initially, I tried to convince, because many times these person can be a close friend or a main person in your working team.
Absolutely.
So you try to resolve it first, but then when it is not resolved after clarifications and after every humble thing, keeping the distance also, then how to move on, ma'am? Because it keeps you bothering also inside. It is not that easy. You carry it back to your home also. And you can't go to aggression because, ma'am, as per the school, my aggression score is 9.
Natasha, what you have been doing is convincing. You were not asserting. Now you have learned the right way of asserting. When you will start asserting in a right manner, keep an eye on your language, on your tone of voice, your body language, facial expressions, eye contact, and other things that I said. And of course, that goes without saying that your work has to be exemplary. Your work has to be flawless. Only then you have the right to assert. If I am not on time, I'm not doing my things right, if I'm not submitting my work on time, if I'm not acting responsible, then it's not being assertive.
Yes, sir.
If I'm right in my place, and then you said that sir tried talking to her, he did not address her behavior as an issue with her directly, that this is what is bothering me and this is going to be the consequences, or I'll be forced to take this action. Maybe he tried to tell her कि मैम ऐसे मत बात करिए, आप ऐसे बात करेंगे खराब हो जाता है, माहौल खराब हो जाता है, बाकी लोग क्या समझेंगे. Again, you are just trying. That will not work. Assertion is when you bring the problem to the table and you get up with the clarity that this is a problem and it requires addressing. It can happen over one meeting, it can happen in 2-3 meetings. Maybe if that's not working, you have a mediator, you have a third person who would sometimes create peace, would create, maybe explain your viewpoint to the other person. But to be able to speak for yourself is very important. A lot of time people who are aggressive or dominating, they forget the rights of others. They become very disrespectful, but they can only be disrespectful if you allow them to abuse your rights. At least you have to raise your voice in the right manner.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. So very quickly, maybe a 5 minutes role play. We can't have a long role play because I need to discuss your conflict resolution scores also. Any situation that you think you would like to act in the role play? Anybody? We could take Natasha's case, we could take what Shivani brought to the table, or any other case. Okay, Natasha, would you like to take that case of that two seniors that you were talking about?
Okay, ma'am, we can try.
So I will be the head of the department, that male colleague, okay? And you be the female colleague, and you will have to actually act like her, behave the way she behaves. And can you give me a situation where actually it happened? If you give me a brief, then I can act well. Yeah.
Ma'am, there is some network issue coming. I'm not able to hear you.
Okay. So I was saying, if you give me a brief of any one incident which you can recollect that happened in your presence and you saw it happening, if you give me the brief, then you be the lady, colleague.
Sorry, ma'am, there is some network issue at my.
Is it?
Hello.
Yeah. Is it better now?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, maybe the procurement of some medical instrument which was
Okay.
needed in the department,
Hmm.
and there was some variation in the instrument which ma'am required and sir wanted,
Hmm.
and so
Okay. So assume that we have to procure something, and we are not agreeing on the product because you require some specifications and I require some other specification. Is that okay? So let's
okay.
take that, and you behave exactly the way she would behave. Try. I know it's not always possible to exactly do that, but just try. Okay. Role play is a wonderful way to teach your students. Use this very often in your classroom. You'll really be able to engage your participants. Okay. So we are in a meeting, and Natasha and me and all others are there, but then Natasha and me, we are going to talk. So you can raise your point, whatever it is.
Okay. Good afternoon, Mr. X. I would like to come to your cabin, and I would. मुझे ये बोलना है आपसे that you have always been a hindrance to whatever I have been trying in the department. The instrument I requested you to bring, आपने वो instrument procurement list से हटा दिया है. And may I know why you have done so? You are here just for 1 year as an HOD. After you, I have to take the charge of HOD, for which I will be carrying another 5 years. तो आप कौन होते हैं उस procurement list को मुझे बिना बताए change करने वाले?
डॉक्टर नताशा, मैंने एक्चुअली ऐसा कुछ नहीं करा कि मैंने जानबूझकर आपके कोई इंस्ट्रूमेंट्स का कोई हटाए हैं. व्हाई विल आई डू दैट? पर अगर ऐसा कुछ हुआ है तो आप मेरे साथ डिस्कस करिए और मुझे बताइए कि क्या क्या चीज है जो आपने ऑर्डर करी, आप चाहते थे और मैंने नहीं करी. कैन यू टेल मी द स्पेसिफिक इंस्ट्रूमेंट दैट यू आर लुकिंग फॉर?
मिस्टर एक्स, यू आर बिहेविंग वेरी, आपको सब कुछ पता है व्हाट यू हैव डन, एंड नाउ यू आर बिहेविंग लाइक यू नो नथिंग. आप मुझसे चाहते हैं मैं वो बताऊं जिस पेपर पे आपने खुद साइन किया है.
तो इट्स ओके, देयर कैन बी मिसअंडरस्टैंडिंग. देयर इज अ पॉसिबिलिटी कि मैंने नहीं नोटिस करा हो कि ये आपकी तरफ से रिकमेंडेड इक्विपमेंट है. आई कैन डेफिनेटली गो थ्रू इट वंस अगेन, लेकिन अगर अभी आप मुझे आराम से बता पाए तो मेरे ख्याल से वी कैन रिजॉल्व दिस इशू राइट हियर. वुड यू
मैं
लाइक
आपको
टू
यही
डिस्कस?
कहना, नो आई वोंट लाइक टू डिस्कस. आई वांट टू गिव योर रिक्वेस्ट दैट आप अभी के अभी वो प्रोक्योरमेंट लिस्ट वापस बुला के एडिट करके मेरा इंस्ट्रूमेंट डाल के उसको भेजें, सो दैट आई गेट दैट इंस्ट्रूमेंट बाय हुक और बाय क्रुक.
डॉक्टर नताशा, मुझे एक बारी देख लेने दीजिए. अगर आप नहीं बताना चाह रहे कोई बात नहीं, मुझे एक बारी लेट मी कॉल द कंसर्न पर्सन जिसके पास सारी ये डिटेल्स हैं. और अगर मुझे लगेगा कि आपने जो कहा है वो हमें चाहिए और वो है, तो मैं डेफिनेटली उसको वो करूंगा. और इट रिक्वायर्स डिस्कशन, देन लेट्स सिट ऑन द टेबल एंड टॉक अबाउट इट एंड सी कि क्या रीजन है कि मैंने क्यों. नेचुरली कुछ तो रहा होगा रीजन जो मैंने उसको रिफ्यूज करा है. लेट मी गो थ्रू द डिटेल्स एंड गेट बैक टू यू. इज इट ओके?
No, it is not okay. I don't require the discussion. I know that instrument is must for the department.
I respect your feeling, but I need to actually look at the details. Only then I will be able to give you my words. I'm really sorry. I will not be able to say straight away that, okay, I will do this, but I need to use my power to discern whether what is appropriate or not. But I would look at the details and then get back to you.
Okay, sir, you can do it in another one day. Otherwise, I'll have to contact the higher authorities, maybe to director sir. मुझे उनसे directly जाके बात करना पड़ेगा that you are being a hindrance to me.
See, that's perfectly all right. As long as I know the reason why I'm not buying the equipment that you are asking for, I think I'll have my reasons. And in case if I think that is appropriate to buy the instrument that you need, I'll be more than happy to buy. But saying that you will go and complain to somebody, it's okay. You have full right to go. I'm not stopping you, but I think I'll have my own reasons to explain why I'm not ordering your equipment.
Oh, okay, sir. Then I have to move out, and then smashing the door, she will go.
It's okay. See, again, she came angry. She came with all allegations. She threatened me. You don't.
But you maintained it.
If you look at the language, if you look at the tone of voice, if you look at my facial expression, if you look at my eye contact, I maintained that.
Yes, ma'am.
And even if, I mean, I did not, though I could see she's angry, I did not bring in that anger here because I knew, अच्छा आप इतना गुस्सा क्यों कर रही हैं? आप शांत हो जाइए ना, पहले बात तो करो आराम से. ऐसे भी चिल्ला के बात करेंगी तो मैं कैसे बात कर सकता हूँ? I am not addressing that.
Okay, ma'am.
So that's how it takes time. Any other issue somebody wants to practice?
Can I discuss one more situation?
Mhm.
We have a senior who is almost of the head of the department authority, and we have a junior colleague who is working on a contractual basis as a lecturer. And suddenly, every day, 2 consecutive nursing orderlies are being sent to give a reminder, please vacate your room and give me back the keys because I need to give the same room to postgraduates. So third day, the person junior is busy in the OPD seeing patients, and suddenly another nursing orderly comes with the same reminder, you have not submitted the key. So the junior gets up, goes to the room, evacuates every whatever possible belongings were there, and goes and straight away hands over the key to the head of the department. And head of the department responds, I have no idea about this. I don't know. So the junior responds, do I call those nursing orderlies who came to me as supposedly getting your message? You are misbehaving. If you want, you can keep my room. You can keep my washroom. You can keep my room. And I'm leaving. And he leaves the room in anger and all fuming. So how is the junior supposed to tackle that? He simply avoids the confrontation.
No, Archana, I need to understand. I think I missed some point. So this junior vacated the room and then he came to the head of the department room and handed over the key, saying,
the key of the room.
Okay, and then
No,
what
simply
happened?
said that, so this is the key that you have been looking for. I have vacated the room. And then the head, suddenly he started declares, what key? I have no idea about it. The
So
junior
he was the one who had sent the nursing order?
Yes, yes,
Okay,
yes.
but he acted that I don't know why.
I
Okay.
don't know what you're talking about. What kind of a key? Anyways, you should have vacated a long time back. You took so long, 3 days. You took too long to vacate the room, and I have to just a new batch of postgraduates. So you should have done it quite long time back. So, and in any case, I'm not involved. I have no idea about it. So then the junior says, am I supposed to get the nursing orderlies who gave me this false information or a message for a clarification? No, 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 nothing of that sort. You can keep my room, you can keep my washroom. And the senior leaves the room fuming without leaving any space for any discussion or clarification. So how should normally it have been, should it have been
To
handled?
start with, when this issue was raised, of course, if the junior resident has been asked to vacate the room, then what is the alternative?
Not the junior resident, it's a junior faculty member who's working on a contractual basis.
Okay. So, for example, this junior faculty member who was working on the contractual listing. So, the first time the person got the information from the nursing orderly that you have to vacate the room, I think the ideal would have been this person should have gone to the head of the department asking, "Hey, sir, I have received this message from the nursing orderly that you want me to vacate the room. So, where do you want me to relocate? Where do I move? Do you want me to move somewhere, or you want me to not have any room?" See, there was a pent up anger on both sides. There was no direct communication. The Chinese whisper we discussed in the last session, that's what exactly happened. Who knows what nursing orderly was going and telling, who knows what they were adding or fueling the situation. So if there was a communication that was not clear or that was not okay, at the first go, I need to go and clarify, sir, you have sent a message to me. And then again, I'm asserting, I'm not becoming aggressive. Even if I'm unhappy, I have to assert, yes, sir, I received the message from nursing orderly that you want me to vacate the room. I'm okay with vacating the room. Where do you want me to relocate? Is there any other room that you want to give me? Do you want me to share with somebody? So rather than impulsively picking everything and locking thing and giving the key, he should have asserted for his rights. He or she should have asserted for the rights. No? So right from the beginning, I think we have to learn to communicate in very clear manner so that we know what we want and we express and we are ready to listen to the other person. अब आप बताओ, अगर आप एचओडी होते मुझे क्या जवाब, मैं आपके पास आई हूँ, मैं हूँ जूनियर फैकल्टी कि मैम आपने मुझे रेजिडेंट ने उसने नर्सिंग ऑर्डरली ने मैसेज दिया है कि मुझे कमरा खाली करना है, आप शायद पीजीज को देना चाह रहे हैं, कोई बात नहीं, आप मुझे बताइए मैं कहाँ मूव करूँ, आप मुझे बता दीजिए, मैं अपना सामान मूव कर देती हूँ, आप जवाब दो मुझे.
The answer was not acceptable.
दो जवाब दो, आप दो. I'm junior faculty, you are HOD. You fume the way you want.
Am I supposed to copy that person?
It's okay, you try, you can try, we can try.
It was random response. Random response.
I say you give me that random response, I'll handle that.
That's not my problem. You have another room. Doesn't matter if a male and a female colleague have to share the common room with a common attached washroom. That's not my problem. You can shift any room. You go and fight with the matron in charge who's occupying an unnecessary room in our department. You go and talk to the principal, go and fight for the room.
It's okay. That means you will not be able to provide me a room and you want me to function. Then you want me to speak to somebody? You think you advise me to speak to somebody?
Go and speak to the matron in charge and ask her to vacate the room. Go and speak to the principal directly. Go give it in writing and go for a verbal information to the principal.
I understand your concern. Let me go and speak to the matron and so I am not vacating the room. I am going to the matron and to the principal. But if I vacate the room, then I've already lost my thing. And that's also out of anger. Maybe I have to share the room. There are room shortages. I'm not saying, no, I need a room because I am the boss. No, I may have to adjust with people, but then that should come as a cordial solution from both the parties. And one should be open to, sharing place because there may be, shortage of room or whatever the reason is. Thank you. Okay, so quickly now discussing your scores. All of you could do the questionnaire. And did you find out your style of conflict
Yes,
resolution?
ma'am.
So if you can write your style in the chat box, that will be nice. What do you think is this style? So the whole idea about this questionnaire is to help you know about yourself. A lot of time we don't know what is my way of handling a situation. And if that comes out in a particular manner, that doesn't mean it's a matter of shame or pride. It's a matter of being aware of it. And then that gives us a chance to work on ourselves, because we know some things will work and some things will not work. So we really need to, understand what do we exactly mean by these styles and how do we really change our style of handling. So let me quickly, share the screen with you and discuss all these 4 styles of handling conflict. So you have taken this test and now you have an idea about your conflict resolution style. I think most important here is to understand that each one of you will have a dominant style and then one can be the backup style. So you will try one style. If that does not work, you can move on to the other one. So accommodating style, more like teddy bear style, like a soft toy. People who are using this as a style of handling conflict, you'll find them adjusting and cooperating to a very high degree. So they are willing to go to any extent to create cordial relationship with people and make place a good healthy happy kind of a place. So they will actually give in a lot to maintain relationships. So there's always a price that we pay, and teddy bears would pay a lot of price to maintain relationship. The benefits of using this style is definitely that it will minimize injury, because teddy bears never hurt or injure anybody. And I mean that will not cause hurt and insult or pain to anybody. Of course, relationships are maintained when people use this style of handling things. But the cons of this kind of style is it breeds resentment, because ultimately when you are adjusting beyond a point where you can actually comfortably give in, you start feeling somewhere that your rights are being exploited and you are not able to express yourself in a honest manner. You feel exploited, and there's a risk people who are using this style as their way of handling conflict, others can exploit you, because they would know that you are this kind, and you would easily become a prey to it. Avoiding style, more like tortoise, people who are using this as their primary way of handling conflict and difficult situation. So like turtle, they would actually cover themselves in this shell to protect themselves. So it's more like non-confrontational approach. Of course, the benefit is that it will not escalate conflict. You are in a comfort zone, you can avoid conflict. You can also postpone the issues by using this technique, because you are not addressing it, resolving it, or working on it. So relationships are maintained, but honestly, they are more at a superficial level, because this kind of style will not function in a productive manner. As a result, the cons are, of course, there will be resentment on the other side and in yourself also, because you have not been able to successfully, effectively deal with this situation. There'll be a lot of unaddressed problems and issues. People will not be happy with you. People will find it difficult to break wall. People may not find you helpful in finding solutions to the problem. And also there'll be a lot of unresolved issues because we are not addressing them, we are not working on them, we are not creatively, critically finding the solutions to it. So naturally those problems and issues will stay there unresolved, unaddressed. That's again going to breed a lot of resentment in you and among people. When we talk about the third style, and that's competitive style, and it's named as shark style. Again, in this style, you are more likely to be authoritative and competing. So the chances are that you would not, mind using your authority and position. Benefits are that yes, people in this position will be goal oriented. They'll be able to achieve what they want to do. They'll be quick and will have shortcuts to get the work done or do the thing. But the cons are, again, it will breed resentment because people around you will not be very happy with your approach. They will not really like the way you handle things in a quick and short manner, and sometimes it's hurtful to others. It also breeds hostility, people who don't agree with you, and if they are also competitive and aggressive, they're not going to like the way you handle things, and there can be a lot of, face off and arguments between you and the other person. Again, unresolved issues and problems will be there because naturally when others' concerns are not resolved, others' issues are not addressed, they are going to be unhappy, and that will breed resentment and hostility. The fourth style is the compromising style, though it's called fox style, but then this is the style where you actually look for middle ground approach. You're trying to actually create kind of win-win situation. This style is helpful in complex situation where the simple solutions are not easily visible. So you really need to work on finding what will be okay for both the parties. So it requires a lot of mental work, especially when the parties are of equal power. So if it's a person who is your colleague, there you all have equal rights. So you got to really find a way that works for both of you, to create win-win situations. The cons of such style are that no one will be ever happy because ultimately you are, creating a middle ground where people have to let go of some of their wishes. So they will think, oh, बहुत smartly खेला, बहुत चालाकी से करा, बहुत cunning way में करा. So they will not be very happy and satisfied with this style. But then this works. A lot of time this works. There's another style called collaborative style, and it's called owl style. In this style, the problems are solved in a collaborative way to minimize the negative feelings. So the objective is that look at the problem, solve the problem, but make sure that you don't create any negative feelings around you to keep people happy who around you, with you. The pros are that it creates mutual trust, relationships are maintained, it builds commitment because you are taking everybody in. So as a result, you have people around you who trust you and who are ready to work with you. The cons of this kind of style is it is very time consuming. It takes time to build rapport, to build trust, to build confidence. So but in long term relationships, I think this is a good way because you are looking for a long term association and work culture. It's energy consuming because as a collaborator you'll have to really go out of the box to look at solutions, and sometimes the solutions are not easily visible, but you're keeping in mind that you want to create a solution which is happy and liked by everybody. And then both the parties need to have the same mindset. So maybe you are a collaborative style person, but person with whom you're working is a competitive style, so you'll have to actually struggle a lot, because not only that you want to solve the problem in a successful manner, but also you will have to deal with the competitive style of the other person. So it's quite exhausting sometimes. So actually the thing is you need to go out of the box to find solution to the problems if you want to really resolve conflicts, because conflicts are part and parcel of any relationship, not only workplace, even at home. You will experience conflicts with your spouses, with your children, with your parents, with your in-laws, with your neighbors. But the approach has to be, do I want to resolve it or I want to just escalate it? So you really need to go out of the box to see, can I resolve this? How can I resolve this? What are the ways to resolve it? So I'm giving you a puzzle to end my session. There are 9 dots. Connect these 9 dots with 4 straight lines without lifting your pen. You can put these 9 dots in your notebook and try connecting all the 9 dots with 4 straight lines. Try doing it. पर करने के बाद कैमरा में दिखाना. After you have done it. शिवानी, एक डॉट रह गया ना बेटा. All 9 dots. डॉक्टर गीता, आप विजिबल नहीं है, आपकी स्क्रीन जो है वो छत की तरफ फेस कर रही है. थैंक यू. कोई कर पाया? कोशिश तो करो. हार्वर्ड की स्टडी कहती है कि एवरी प्रॉब्लम हैज मिनिमम 4 सॉल्यूशंस एंड एवरी सॉल्यूशन शुड बी ट्राइड एटलीस्ट 4 टाइम्स. कोई कर पाया? नहीं? नताशा कर पाए? नहीं कर पाए? ट्राई करो करो करो.
मैम ऐसा लगता है एक डॉट कम करना पड़ेगा.
कमरे कम है तो एक जूनियर स्टाफ को उड़ाई दो. नहीं आया? कोशिश तो कर रहे हो. आई एम हैप्पी यू आर ट्राइंग. कितनी लाइन रही? 5 हो गई ना. आपने पेन उठाया ना? पेन नहीं उठाना. पेन नहीं उठाना. और ये वाला डिजाइन नेक्स्ट बैच के साथ शेयर नहीं करना, बिकॉज मंडे को फिर हम यही एक्टिविटी करने वाले हैं. सो दैट शुड बी योर सीक्रेट. ये नहीं कि आपने अपने कलीग्स को बता दिया कि जाते बना देना ये. दिस इज व्हाट मैम इज गोइंग टू आस्क. हुआ कुछ? कर पाए? कोई कर पाया? नहीं. So you want to see the solution?
But we can add more dots.
पहले इसको तो कनेक्ट कर ले. और डॉट्स को क्या करेंगे? 4 लाइनें बनानी है without lifting your pen and you have to connect all the dots.
Okay.
We normally think in the box. A lot of old solutions are obsolete for new problems. So you have to go out of the box to find new solutions to new problems. That's the message basically. So when you're resolving conflict, go out of the box. There's another solution. कितनी लाइनें हैं इसमें? There's another solution. But all need you to go out of the box. Don't think in the box. That's the message I want to leave you with when it comes to communication styles and conflict resolution style. There are certain tips about conflict resolution style we will cover in the next session. Is that okay? Because it's already 4:10. Is it 4:10?
Yes, ma'am.
So should we close the session here? So very quick takeaway, if you could write in the chat box, that would help me know if we have really discussed something meaningful. Write in the chat box a quick takeaway. और आज एक अच्छा सा स्क्रीनशॉट भी लेंगे. It's not only solvable, every relationship is very important. Assertive communication should be adopted and always try to think out of box. Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you. Every relationship in conflict is resolved. Thank you. Think out of box. Yes. That's the message I want to give you. Don't use old solutions to the new problems. They will not work. You'll have to really go out of the box. Assertive communication to be the dominant style. Yes. Acknowledge the contribution of the staff. Yes, I think that's a huge takeaway. I would say that you are able to incorporate in your way of handling your staff. You'll see a change in their behavior towards you. They'll be more respectful, more cordial. कई बार हम चाय मंगवाते हैं ना, तो जिन स्टाफ के साथ हमारा रिलेशनशिप अच्छा होता है, उनकी चाय इमीडिएट आ जाती है, और जिनके साथ हमारा अच्छा नहीं होता, फिर वो चाय आसाम से आती है, तो काम ही नहीं होता. So it's very important to create good work environment so that your team works for you. So our tone and respect to each other in a conflict will solve 50% of the conflicts. Absolutely, Dr. Sinhan, I agree with you, and that's a very good thing. Communication before you ruin the relationship. Communicate before you ruin the relationship with blind walls of assumption. Absolutely, again, good, very good message. Thank you so much. I think it's been a importance of assertive communication skills in everyday life. Perfectly right. I agree with you. I think any relationship can be managed very effectively if you learn how to go about using assertion in your life. So thank you so much. It has been a pleasure, interacting with all of you. I hope this session helps you all. So yeah, there's another message. Thank you so much. That communication style should be such that makes us and others happy. Absolutely. 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 Thank you. So we'll take a quick screenshot. If everybody's comfortable, थोड़ा कैमरे के सामने आ जाओ, एक अच्छी सी पिक्चर ले लेते हैं मुस्कुराते हुए. डॉक्टर गीता, आप बहुत पीछे लग रहे हो. Okay, that's okay. Fine. Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. I'm taking the picture. Smile. Thank you. I've taken one screenshot. Although I know it's been recorded, but then screenshot is better. Thank you once again. Let's meet on, when do we meet? Today's? I'm totally disoriented. Thursday? Today's Thursday?
Thursday.
So we'll be meeting on, I think, Tuesday. Am I right? With the last session.
14th.
Yeah, with the last session. Yeah. I don't know who all will be there in this group, but then the first batch will be, will be meeting on Tuesday. Thank you so much, all of you. God bless you all.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.